Schlossberg, Managing Director at BK Asset Management.
BK Asset Management's Kathy Lean.
Boris Schlossberg, Managing Director at BK Asset Management.
BK Asset Management's Kathy Lean.
Hello. Good morning, everyone. Say hello if you can hear me, see me, or give me a thumbs up. Let me know that the video audio is coming through. Good morning, Fred. I know you were here early. And yes, it is a very, very busy trading week. We've got a lot to talk about, a lot going on in the markets. Good morning, Glad. Good morning, Paulo. Hello, everyone. Fantastic. Now, my first question for you is how many of you traded last night or this morning? If you did, say yes. If you didn't, say no. Let me know whether you traded in the last 12 hours. I know that Boris traded more than 1,000 of you came into the markets and traded with him last night. We have, most of you, Forex Alien says yes. Greg says yes. Theo says yes. Most of you have traded. Now, those of you that traded, did you make money or did you lose money? Boris made you trade for 2.5 hours. Was it worth it, Tony? I was out at a Brooklyn Nets game with my 99-year-old grandfather, so I didn't catch the trading session. But how did it work out? Okay, so I didn't trade. Many of you did. Boris traded, of course, and generally speaking, it is my rule of thumb not to trade Sunday open and Monday morning. Now, I didn't trade at all last night, and even if it wasn't a Sunday, I would say that generally speaking, I would wait for the dust to settle before I put my trades on. So I did not trade at all last night. I traded a little bit this morning, the NASDAQ. I'm not supposed to do it, but I kind of broke my rules. But I still made money in the NASDAQ, which is really kind of interesting because at the end of the day, the NASDAQ is just up and down all morning. And so the smarter decision probably would have been not to trade, but this stability is probably, or this rebound from the lows is probably something very important to talk about. Generally speaking, I have to say that when we have these type of huge moves and headlines in the market, it's better to be very cautious, stand aside, and wait for the kind of AAA setups before you take the trade. And of course, we'll talk a little bit about today how to find those AAA setups. I'm Kathy Lean. For those of you that are brand new, Boris will join us for live trading in just a little bit. I had such a nice time, with my grandfather last night. I'm going to show you a picture real quick before we start chatting, and it gives me an opportunity to kind of share my screen. He is literally 99 years old. He rolled into he rolled into Barclays Center in his wheelchair, his automated wheelchair, and we had such a nice time. Okay, let me share my screen. And there we are, at the Barclays Center. This is actually, I didn't realize this, and perhaps it's my fault, but this was actually his first time ever at a basketball game. I'm not into sports, and so that's my reason for not going, but I took him and I took my two boys for their first basketball game, and it was a real treat. This is before the game started. We were in the suite level, and he had such a nice time rolling into Barclays Center. And I've got to do it again. All right, so let's get into talking about the market. So this gives me a really good opportunity, and I'm really glad I'm sharing my screen with you because there's so much to talk about in terms of the implications of the Iran tensions. But if you look at the left-hand corner here, or the left hand, let me use my arrow to show you. I have been warning you all weekend. And, if you've ever traded during the first Trump administration or, any recent headlines, you will know gap is 100% inevitable when you have such a huge headline, such a breaking event. I mean, we've been waiting for this. For better or worse, the market was bracing. A better word is not waiting, but bracing for the Iran attack for months now, it seems. And it happened, even though it can be argued that some people had positioned for it. If we go to the daily chart, and I'm going to hide my indicators right now first, but my lines. We just go to the daily chart. One of the things that I pointed out over the weekend is that we are, for the most part, still, if we zoom out, at the upper right-hand corner of the chart. For the most part, we're still at the upper right-hand corner of the chart in the NASDAQ. And the NASDAQ has corrected more than the Dow, for example. So because we're at the upper right-hand corner of the NASDAQ, yes, we did have some selling Thursday and Friday. That's what you see in these candles. But positioning is still very much too long. And because positioning was still very much too long, even though some quote unquote smart money did end up getting out on Friday and cutting their positions. And I also warned you of this. I warned you about how it's probably smart to cut your positions with all of the headline risk. Even though we did have some traders, cut their positions, that was not enough, because just looking at the daily chart, we are at still the upper right-hand corner of the chart. And because we're at the upper right-hand corner of the chart, positions, traders, mostly dumb money, retail money, is still long. And that is why the gap down was going to happen inevitably. Some people argued that we're going to be positive, whatever. I didn't believe that was the case. I think that 100% the markets were gap down. Lots of people on Twitter said, "You're wrong, Kathy. Everyone's priced this in." BS. No one's priced, this aggressiveness in. And even if it wasn't this level of aggressiveness, just looking at the fact that the chart was the upper right-hand corner, told you that not enough people priced the war in. That's why we had the gap down. But as traders, you see the gap down. What are you supposed to do? Someone tell me in the chat. When you see a gap down, do you sell or do you buy? I want someone to answer me. Do you sell or do you buy when you see a gap? I'm going to write this question here. Gap. Are you supposed to sell or buy? What are you supposed to do? Tell me. I don't know. That's okay. That's okay. Glasses, I don't know. Greg, yes is not an answer. It's either buy or sell. Okay. It's like if I ask you, do you like vanilla or chocolate ice cream? You said yes. Yeah, there are actually two right answers here. Either buy or wait for the fill and then sell. So the way to trade gaps, gaps, let's do this. How to trade gaps. There's only two ways to trade gaps. You do not chase the gap. One is you either buy the gap once you see a little bit of stabilization, or you wait for the fill and then you sell into it. Let's get this cursor over to the right place. This is the only way to trade gaps. If you've joined us before, this is not the first time that we've talked about gaps. We talked about gaps, with the Japanese yen. We talked about gaps, Liberation Day. We talked about gaps, and there's tons of times that we talk about trading gaps. And these are the only two ways to trade gaps. One, you buy the gap, or two, you wait for the fill to sell into it. And that is, and if you followed this rule, and even if you didn't do it this time, I guarantee you there will be other scenarios where we have gaps. And when we have those gaps, I want you to sear it into your brain, because as much as I am a fundamental analyst, I'm a trader first. And as much as we will be talking about the macro implications of what's happening on, your trades, at the end of the day, it's tactics that matter. And so tactically, today we have the gap. We will have a gap again. Sear into your brain. Remember that you want to buy the gap or wait for the fill to sell into it. And as you can see, the MNQ, we had, I don't want to call it beautiful because, you know, in no way, shape, or form is this beautiful, but we had the gap, it was filled, and then the real move came in. And you saw the same thing in MGC, gold. You saw the gap up, no surprise, 100% expected this to happen. You had the gap in gold. Now, it doesn't always get 100% filled, but I mean, this is like pretty close. I mean, we got a little bit left. You can't be too greedy. You basically watch the gap fill, and you know, wait for the fill and then buy into it. And how could you have bought in? You know, there's a lot of different ways. This is where, you know, maybe your indicators will come into play. For example, I guess these indicators didn't really show you much. If you're just focusing on levels, what you could have done is, you know, one very, very simple way, although it's not really the most lucrative way, is to wait for the news high and then get in on this breakout. This was during the London Open. No surprise again, London Open. Market timing matters a lot. And for those of you that have joined my market timing course, we will talk a lot about this. Market timing matters a lot, and a lot of times the breakouts happen at the market opens. This is why this is oftentimes called the London kill zone, because you have these breakouts happen. No surprise that this breakout is happening over here, which, you know, is a nice, you know, 20-point move in gold. So lots of opportunity here. We're now at the New York Open. What's going on at the New York Open? Kathy says that Asia Open, London Open, New York Open are important, right? Clearly, Asia last night was huge. You know, Boris traded with you. Asia Open is always huge. Asia is hands down, believe it or not, my 100% most lucrative time to trade. I can't trade London. I got to sleep sometime, but London also has some great signals. Now we're in the New York session. What's happening? What's going on? Finally, New York session, we're seeing some sort of movement there. We're seeing some sort of movement in NASDAQ. We had a lot of messiness this morning in the NASDAQ. And finally, we're getting the market open. And finally, we're getting a little bit of movement in the NASDAQ lower. If I bring back in some of my shorter term moving averages, you will see that we are finally back below the 20 SMA, which is important. We're finally back below 20 SMA. Earlier, we had our BK trend meter start to turn green, showing this kind of stabilization and rebound. Now the 5-minute chart, 15-minute chart have all turned red. And the way to read this is that basically what you want to do is you want to, the way to read this is that you basically have the 5 SMA, 20 SMA, 50 SMA, 100 SMA, and 200 SMA. This is fully customizable. You could change it to whatever you want. Boris sometimes like to set it at the 1-minute chart. We also have an EMA meter. And I watch this regardless of what time frame I'm on. If I'm trading the 1-hour chart, 15-minute chart, I can watch what's on the 5-minute chart. It's kind of basically multiple time frame analysis at a glance, where I'm looking at the other time frames to see whether or not the trend is bullish or bearish. I don't have to flip between my charts. So right now, 5-minute chart, you can see that the 100 that's starting to turn is trying to turn a little bit red. So it's telling me that maybe there's a little bit of stabilization, but not quite yet. The fact that it's back below the 20 SMA, and I'm going to put back on my 5 SMA here. You see that's back below the 5 and 20 SMAs, and it's below all of the SMAs on the 15-minute chart, shows me that at the New York Open, we're closer to the New York Open, that we're starting to get that downward momentum again. And so for now, it looks like we could have a further move lower here than in the NASDAQ, and that we could definitely get a little bit of a trend move lower. We'll have to see whether or not that holds, but it definitely looks to me that we can get a little bit of a trend move lower here in the NASDAQ, possibly targeting at least this low here, 24,535. Okay, so first off, what's going on in the markets? Let's talk about the markets in general before we talk about the reasons for this. Boris has been doing fantastic with trading the Asia session, and maybe he's rounding the corner and starting to come to my side about how fun and lucrative and profitable the Asia session can be. But let's talk about the markets, my friends. 1% down in most of the markets, 500 points down in the Dow. We are up about 2 to 3% in the in gold. We're up about 7% in oil, and the US dollar is up across the board. We're definitely in risk off mode, but are we in panic mode yet? What do you think? If you think we're in panic mode, say yes. If you think we're not in panic mode yet, say no. Let me know. Do you feel like we are in panic mode yet? Of course, I will give you my opinion, but I want to hear yours first on whether or not you think the markets are in panic mode. No. Glass says no. Greg says no. Many of you are starting to say no. Well, one of you, Estrada says yes. Most of you say no. I agree. We're definitely in risk off mode. This is not panic mode yet. 500 points. Now, of course, 9:30 open, most likely what typically happens in the first 30 minutes of the open is that a lot of the retail orders get pushed in, and we'll get a flush lower. And typically what happens at the market open, and you'll see later when Boris trades with you, is that you get a flush lower followed by a reversal. And so, yes, we didn't surge. We are not in panic mode yet. Let's look at the VIX for a minute. For those of you that don't know what the VIX is, it's a volatility index of the S&P. Yes, we're up. But the VIX, if we look at the daily chart, let's make this a line because it's way too crazy right now. Let's make this a line, and we want to remove my indicators. So we're up, but we're not in 25-30 mode. We're up, but we've been a lot more up before. This is Liberation Day. In many ways, this is just as bad as Liberation Day because some of the effects could be more permanent. It's different, obviously, but we should definitely be above 25 and the VIX. Overall, you're seeing that the markets are definitely in risk off mode, but we are not in panic mode. I don't think it's too much in some ways there is a lot of anticipation, but I also think that first off, I think it's going to get worse. I think it's going to get worse at the market open. I think at the end of day today, when we close, in my opinion, we're going to be closing lower than where we are right now. I think we're going to wait for the market open. We're going to have a flush. I think, because the headlines have not been good. Saudi Arabia just had one of their biggest oil facilities hit. It is called Ras Tanura, and Ras Tanura accounts for 7% of world oil supply. And this is where I want to show you some of the charts that show you why this is important and how bad this could get. I posted a bunch of charts this weekend on Prop Trader Edge, so we're going to share with this. And here's one of the first charts I want to show you, which is oil prices that tie directly into inflation and CPI. For those of you that don't follow Prop Trader Edge yet, make sure you do, not just about prop trading. So here's the rule of thumb from the Federal Reserve. Every $10 rally in oil is tied to 20 basis points of inflation. So right now, before today, we were at $67 in oil. So before today, we were at $67 in oil. Right now, $72 in oil. We could easily see $40 from where it was before the whole war set into place. So $40 is basically 80 basis points, almost, let's say, 1% in inflation, and so that could be quite significant. And what does it mean for gas prices? I want you to take a look at here. This is a table from Macro Trends. Let me zoom in for you to see. The orange line is oil or is gasoline prices. The blue line is oil prices. And so the last time, if you look at this, is the $100 mark. The last time we had oil prices above $100 a barrel was in 2022. And when that happened, gasoline prices was above $4 a gallon. So right now, gasoline prices are like $2.90, probably $3 at most places. So that's like another dollar increase in gasoline prices. So even though, all the economists say that every $10 rally in oil is equivalent to 25%, usually the oil market prices in more. And so this tells you that if we get to $100 in oil, we could be at $4 to $4.50 in gasoline. And that has a significant impact because gas prices hits the wallets of people directly. There was a headline this morning, and all of you, I don't know if it's going to come up or not because I have too many headlines, but how gasoline futures prices in Europe like increased 50% or something like that. Oh, here it is. European gas prices soared 50% on Qatar energy halt. I mean, that's huge. And this is not just an American story. This is gas prices are going to be increasing across the globe. And the increase in gas prices is going to make everything more expensive. It's going to hit the pocketbooks of a lot of of drivers. It's going to impact inflation, and by impacting inflation, it's going to delay interest rate cuts. And it's going to affect how stocks move. It's going to affect how gold moves. It's going to affect how the US dollar moves. So keep an eye on gas prices because even though right now, this moment, if we go back to our candlesticks right now, this moment, we are not seeing stocks necessarily continue their sell-off. I think that unless there's suddenly some very positive headlines, we could see a bit more movement lower. Now, some people like Glad thinks that we're going to get an interest rate cut. I don't think the Fed is going to be. Okay, so the question here is, of course, the Fed's going to cut interest rates, right? It's a matter of timing. And if inflation is too hot, they may have to delay some of their interest rate cuts. We'll have to see. And as you and I probably agree, the impact of war tends to be short-lived. Even if this is a long, drawn-out war, I think that the markets will start to price in the duration of it, and that it's going to move on. Unfortunately, the markets have what we call short-term memory, and so I think it's going to end up basically pricing a lot of it in, and that the market is going to end up stabilizing. But the last time inflation spiked due to just general factors, S&P dropped 9% in February, March of 2023 when inflation spiked to 5%, which is where it could go. So that could happen before the Fed comes in and talks about cutting interest rates and ends up rallying. So this is another chart that I think is very, very valuable for you to see. And then the last one that I want to show you chart-wise is where is this? This one right here. This one actually got 150,000 views on my channel, but which is quite impressive. Which is that when we had the Iraq war, the markets the day of the markets opened, it was a 1% drop, which is pretty much where we are right now, a 1% drop. But it took 71 days before the market bottomed in August of 1990. Let's see if we can get August of 1990 up for the Dow. Hold on. I don't know. Honestly, I have no idea if my charts are going to go that far back. They should, though. Here we are. Not August of 1990. This was it. August of 1990. It took 71 days, so just over a month for stocks to stabilize. So this was the Iraq war right here, okay? I'm going to zoom in a little bit, all right? And history is very important as a guide these days. So this is the Iraq war. It took 71 days for the market to bottom. And then it looks like it's very zoomed in, but literally this took 6 months before we get back to to break even, where we were before, where stocks were before the breakdown. I think it would probably be more like this, but it took 6 months for it to break even. And in many ways, this situation right now in the Middle East is just as bad because the Strait of Hormuz is actually closed, sort of. I mean, no one can officially close it because no one owns it, but by hitting the ships there and all of these shipping industry shutting down, it's pretty much shut down. So it's never really been like this in before. Did you want to ask before?
Yeah, it's not closed. What's happened?
Of course, it's not closed. No one can officially close it.
Let me finish. What's happened is that all the insurers have basically stopped printing insurance on the Strait of Hormuz transport, which effectively creates an economic closure. That's the whole point. Insurance premiums have spiked up so much that it becomes economically unviable to use the Strait of Hormuz until the situation gets resolved. That's the key thing that's going on right now.
Exactly. And this has not happened in modern history. And so as a result, it is in many ways worse than what is happening on, I'm pointing to my chart and you can't see my finger, but it is worse than what is happening over here. And so this is a huge deal. And it could take months to, the good news is that, if you hold for long enough, the stock market always comes back, right? But, there could be a lot of pain before it happens. And in this case, during the first Iraq war, it was almost 17% to the bottom, which is a lot, right? That's a lot. Now, eventually it recovered. So what does this tell us? It tells us, it tells us a couple things. First off, don't be too afraid in a sense. The market's always, especially if you got 401ks, IRAs, things like that, you don't need to be too afraid because the markets eventually come back. No matter what, see, sometimes in the Pearl Harbor was a very long time ago, but it always comes back, and you can be assured that it always comes back. And what you should be doing is, dollar cost averaging. If you've got an IRA, 401k, you should continue to dollar cost average down. Now, as a trader, what should we do? As a trader, you want to be tactical. You want to wait for, levels. Levels become very, very important here. If I put on I'm looking at a monthly chart, so it's a very, very long-term chart. But, with the monthly chart here, once we get it back above, if you look at this, I'm going to remove some of the moving averages here. But once we get back above, this is a monthly chart, the 20 SMA on the monthly chart, that's when a real trend has emerged. You don't really need to wait for this level to be broken again. I mean, of course, once it breaks, it's it's turned very bullish, but in many ways, that is almost too late. So, on the monthly chart, that's what you want to do. If we drill in a little bit to 1986 to 1988, I don't know, to be honest, if we're going to get weekly chart price action there, but we can see. I'm too lazy to put it in manually, but here we are. It's also almost faster to do it like this. If we look at the weekly chart, you can see that we obviously had a gap down, like we have a gap down now. So we had a gap down, and same thing, once the 20 SMA is a really, really good guide here. Once you're back above the 20 SMA, if you're holding it, those of you that love, breakdown, retraces, break back out, these are all good ways to look at the market. Or look at the gap level, there's a lot of different ways to use your tactics to get into the trade, to time it earlier than the bottom. So for those of you that are traders, you could do that. For those of you that are investors, don't worry, keep dollar cost averaging. It's, eventually always comes back. Okay, so we talked about how bad the situation is. We talked about, in my opinion, it's going to get worse before it improves, just because the Strait of Hormuz is closed. Iran's doubling down on their attacks. More facilities being hit. Qatar is cutting off production. Saudi Arabia is in the war. I mean, there's a lot more negative headlines than there are positive headlines. And for all of those reasons, I think that, the markets are going to head lower. And so, I think it's going to move lower. I think gold, I've been very, very bullish gold. I think gold is easily going to recapture these levels. SMA meter shows a little bit of kind of resistance. And you can see, if I'm looking at the shorter term, long-term charts, my short-term charts show me that, things are starting to move lower in gold, and that maybe the market's seen its bulk of the move today before it consolidates and give us opportunities to buy at lower levels later. Bottom line, though, it doesn't matter. I think that gold's heading up here. Oil, is definitely going up unless there's a sudden resolution. So I would be a buyer of oil on dips. And it still looks like, even on a 15-minute chart right now, still looks pretty attractive to me. And my meters are still mostly positive for oil. So I think, the moves we've seen today are going to intensify. In Forex, dollar yen is shooting up. I think the dollar is the biggest beneficiary. Dollar yen is less attractive to me than perhaps selling euro dollar, because the story in oil and the increase in oil prices is going to be really bad for euro. I think euro is going to at least get down to the 200 SMA over here. You can see that the BK trend meters are all red. I like selling euro. I like selling pound. Pound is actually below. This is the 200 SMA is basically the line in the sand for bulls and bears. The trend is over. And pound is probably the most attractive to the downside for a move down to at least 131. So I very much like pound dollar to the downside as well. I think this risk off mood is going to intensify. I think we're going to have a bigger move lower. And so you need to be, kind of careful of that, because I think we could have a bigger move lower here in all of the markets, including pound dollar. This is a huge week. This is a huge week for the markets regardless. We have, if we go to the economic calendar in a second, you will see that we've got non-farm payrolls, retail sales, ISM services, ISM manufacturing, and a ton of Fed speak. So this is a really, really big week for the markets. But headlines is the main thing that's going to matter. There's nothing going to be more important than what's going on in the Iran war and those headlines. If you want, to get the BK trend meter, this is completely free with any purchase of a prop challenge or a BK membership or deposit into our brokers. If you're purchasing a prop challenge, it's code BK Save with Apex and Edge with Tradeify, Lucid, Ola Prime, Blueberry futures, Top One futures, pretty much Edge with everyone else. Use the code Edge. You'll always get the best discount with the prop firms. BK Save for Apex, and then you can also, get a BK membership and get this free as well. So questions, wondering if the Middle East war will trigger inflation. It will 100% trigger inflation if oil stays where it is, and I think it will. We need a market correction before the Fed cut. Yes, we need a deeper market correction, a sharper rally in a sharper deterioration in conditions before the Fed comes in. So that's why things will get worse before they improve, before the Fed comes in. Yes, ISM is later today. That is going to come out at 10 o'clock, ISM manufacturing. ISM manufacturing is a little less important than ISM services. That's much more important. The other thing that I want you guys to pay attention to is that, I want you guys to realize that the markets is forward-looking. So when I say the markets are forward-looking, that means that, while this week's data is important, the market is going to think more about what all of this geopolitical risk means for the data in the future. And that is why it is so much more important than what is happening today. In terms of the indices, we talked about this already. Stanley talked about how the overall trend is still bearish. I'm, still bearish the indices. I think it's going to be worse when the market opens. Now, taking a look at the data before I turn it over to Boris for trading, we're just going to show the highest level data. So the highest level data, we already had the German and the Swiss data was very, very weak. We had a very weak German Swiss data, very weak Europe Swiss PMI. Swiss retail sales was also very ugly. Later this morning, we have ISM manufacturing numbers, which are going to be important. Probably the weaker data is going to have more of an impact than a stronger data. In my opinion, I think that's going to be much more important. Tomorrow we have inflation data from the Eurozone. The market's going to look at hotter inflation conditions, even though this data is expected to be weaker because the German inflation's data is weaker. We have Australian GDPs. That's important. China has their PMIs. That's important as well. From the US, we have ISM services on Wednesday. This week is going to be the lead up to non-farm payrolls on Friday. So we've got Challenger, ADP, ISM services. All of that is going to be very important. We have Swiss inflation data. We have the beige book from the Fed. That's interesting. And then on Thursday, we have jobless claims numbers. But then we get to Friday. Friday's the big day. Friday's when we have retail sales from the US as well as non-farm payrolls. Where are we? Non-farm payrolls are expected to come in very weak at 70,000. So non-farm payrolls expected to come in at 70,000. That's going to be really, really weak if that's the case, and accelerate the slide in stocks. And then we have retail sales. I don't know why they don't have a forecast here for retail sales. So let's just look at Forex Factory. Retail sales expected to come in lower as well at minus 0.3%. Also expected to come in quite softer in general. So, you know, definitely keep an eye out for that in terms of the retail sales report. So definitely keep an eye out for that. I think that's going to be quite important as well. So keep an eye out. All right. Any questions before we move on? Does a government partial shutdown affect these announcements? It seems like they're all on track. Seems like everything is good to go on that front. Any other questions? Any questions, my friends? All right, I'm going to invite Boris in.
Okay.
Remember, if you want
guys,
to get these BK, go ahead. If you want to get these BK trend meters, you get them completely free with Ola Prime purchase, Tradeify, Lucid. Lucid had huge announcements over the weekend. Apex had huge announcements over the weekend. So these trend meters are invaluable because you can see what has happening on the shorter time frames. Even if you are on a longer time frame. So thank you so much. And I wish you all, you know, a good trading session with Boris.
Okay, guys, give us a second because I have to do a little bit of magic here. We're gonna transfer my layout for just 1 second. Kay's gonna come off the screen. I'm gonna stay on the screen. Give me just 1 second. I'm gonna see if I can get this working. Just 1 sec. Wait, settings. No, where's the setting? Wait. How did this work? I had this before. Hold on. Oh.
Lucid announced the Lucid code is Edge. The code for all prop firms is for your best discount, you get 50% off Lucid is Edge, except Apex, which had amazing updates this weekend. They're at 90% off again. Boris is going to run you through some of that. It's going to be BK Save. Lucid, I'll share my screen. Okay. Boris,
No. Don't share your screen. Don't do anything. Just get off the screen. Get off the screen. Okay. All right, guys. Great. Thank you, guys. I just had to change everything around to get myself organized. Good morning. Kay, get off the screen.
I'm just telling everyone that Apex is at 90% now.
Yeah, I have it. I have it right on the thing. It's right here. Sorry, guys. We have to just do a little bit of magic here because Kay and I are on different softwares, and I'm just trying to run the software for everybody. Yeah, it's up to 90%. It's 80% at very minimum. It's actually 90% on some of the other ones. So go out there. Go get it. I will talk a little bit about Apex. I'm also creating a really, really cool video for everybody today at all the differences between prior to now, all the changes that are going to happen in a really, really nice tight descriptive format. So it's going to be very, very useful for everybody. Watch for the video. It'll be out a little bit later today. So good morning, guys. How's everybody doing? We're selling off. I'm just gonna grab this sell trade right here. If it stays here at 22 seconds, I'll tell you why. Because we are dropping below this buy lows unless we don't. So I'm watching this trade. We got about 5 minutes. This is not a trade you want to be doing in front of the market open, but I'm kind of think we're negative bias anyways. We're dropping the trade. I'm short. Okay, so I'm short here. Let's see if this works for me. 10 target, 20 stop on this move. Let's see if this is going to work for us. To the downside, maybe I'll move this up a little bit. Maybe. Oh, God damn it! I hate this software. Fuck, I hate the software. All right, let's see if this is gonna hit me on the target. Come on. All right, flat now. Good job. All right, nice shot. I'm going to explain to you exactly what I'm doing. We're going to trade wealth charts a little bit today. We've sort of been ignoring wealth charts, and I think especially for today, where you need really fast fills, good executions, and really, really easy visualizations, it's going to be a pretty good platform for us to focus on. So good morning. First of all, mic check, sound check, vibe check, all checks. Let me know what's going on. Tell me how you guys are doing. And then I'm going to run you through all the basic stuff. Everybody who's new in the room, this is the first order of business. Actually, you know what? Hang tight a second here, guys. Hang on. I'm going to rearrange my screens, because if I go over here, I see you guys better. Hang on. Okay. Oops, no. Shit. Okay. Everybody's good? All right. Get rid of this. Okay. All right. Sorry, I'm just moving stuff around. New software, trying to get myself organized here. Okay. So first order of business. Everybody go get. Let me just do this. Everybody go bookmark this website. This is my DOTS trading playbook that not only has everything that we're doing right now and all of the core logic and all the setups that we have, plus a whole bunch of tools that I made for you that you're going to enjoy. I don't even know if we're gonna have time to talk about all the tools that I made for you, but they are incredibly useful for any trader. Everything is 100% free here. So if you're not bookmarking this, you're literally a loser. You're literally a trading loser. I guarantee you everything on that webpage will make you a much better winner than you are now. So please do me a favor, go bookmark this page and don't ask me questions of how to get to it if you don't bookmark it. So I need you to do all of this if you're in the chat right now. Otherwise, I'm going to explain to you all the trades we're going to be doing today, the ways we're trading. I have, before the market starts, I got to tell you, we're running, we're opening up U.S. session trade here. So I'm going to just put all my lines over here as demarcation lines and just see what we're doing. Very, very quiet open, actually, after a nice big volatility. So not really breaking any fresh highs. This is the U.S. market open, a New York market open, highs, lows. We pumped it up to probably bring it down. I'm going to stay very patient here because the vol is probably going to be very, very big, and we're not going to take the first candle at all, because I think we're going to need a little bit of direction. It looks to me actually like this is the 200 SMA, which is probably close to VWAP. If we go to VWAP, whereas VWAP is the same way. It looks bullish to me. I actually want to. Let's go bullish here. Buy. Ooh, boom. See that? Made a nice quick scalp on 10 points up. It's pretty clear that that after a big amount of sell-off, I think the markets think this whole thing is bullshit, and I'll explain to you why in just 1 second. I know Kay gave you a very macabre scenario. Why can't I grab this? Oh. The only thing I hate about Wealth Chart's platform is that I can never, grab the things. We're breaking up. This is London session highs. We're going through London session highs. It's a big, big pump here. Really a big pump. Basically 100 points in a minute. All right, I'm going to leave this alone because that's not my type of trade. But those of you guys who are trading continuity, you're probably going to do well on this. Why can I not grab this? Motherfucker. Stop. Why can't I make this smaller? Ugh. All right. I truly hate this. This is the only thing I hate about the here. Is this the maximum that I can do it? I guess so. I guess this is the maximum I can do it. I'm just killing the chart. Okay. New York session high just exceeded London session high. This is going to be a key point for us to look at. Really, really worthwhile to take a look at. We'll see if there's more continuity trades here. We'll go to the next account. We'll go to the 62 account and see if we can trade that as well. Okay, breaking that, took the highs out. See if it holds. If they hold the highs, we'll go again. The problem is I can't even minimize the chart to show you where the entries are. So you guys are just gonna have to trust me on the trades here. 6, 4, 2, 1. Okay, I'm long. I can't even get up there. I can't even tell you if this thing is going to work or not, just because this thing. There we go, and it got done. Trust me on the fact that it got done because the trade got done over here. Jesus Christ, why can't I get this chart to be tighter? Who knows wealth charts? Give me some pointers of what the fuck I'm doing wrong on wealth charts that I can't compress this chart like I can with TradingView. Why is the chart running completely away from me? What am I doing wrong here? Anybody? All right, look at this, right? This is compressed. Why isn't this compressed? All right, you know what we're going to do? We're just going to use this chart, and we're just going to change the parameters on this chart because I can't figure out how to do it on the other chart. This is so fucking annoying. Okay, we're going to take off. We're going to go back to we're going to get rid of the A setup. We're not going to trade the A setup. We're going to trade the Christmas tree, both with no range, and apply this. And look at that. She's okay. All right, that's working. Okay, we'll just trade this chart. At least now you can see where I'm at. Still fresh highs. I was clicking on the price scale and it just wasn't working. All right, doesn't matter, guys. Let's I fixed it the hard way. It's all working. So many things to talk about. We're going to take a break from scalping. We just hit 3 trades in a row. Let me just take you back to macro because this is literally the best analysis of the whole thing. The guy took the words out of my mouth. I'm going to read this whole thing to you because I think this is the smartest take on the whole Iranian conflict. And if you read this, and I'll actually, if you guys want, let me see if I can give you the. Hang on, let me give you the link to the post. Let me give you the link to the post. I'm going to post the link. All right, everybody, go on Twitter and see if you want this link. All right, Middle East, my non-expert take. There's a lot of gaming going on here. Correct. Both sides are building leverage ahead of what looks increasingly like talks later this week. Take Iran's actions. They fired towards Saudi refinery. Yes, missiles were directed towards Dubai and near military bases. However, they have not fired to maximizing damage. They have fired to demonstrate capability. That's a big difference. No major long-range missiles launched yet. Ask yourself why. Because if Iran deploys its largest missile and it underdelivers, that is the ceiling of their capability exposed. You do not know their full hand before you sit at the table. Instead, Iran has signaled that they can shut the Strait of Hormuz without sinking half the global shipping fleet. One vessel hit and traffic halts. They have signaled they can disrupt UAE without flattening Dubai. They showed that this morning they can cause concern around Saudi oil facilities without causing any disruption. This is leverage. Now look at the US and Israel side. France and UK, Germany moving closer to involvement is not random. Taking out all key Iranian leadership. It is coordinated pressure, maximum leverage before talks. Both sides have now achieved their initial objectives. They have demonstrated capability. Now come the talks. If this conflict were intended to be prolonged and existential, oil would be not trading where it is at 74.25, actually 72. We're still 6% below the price levels from the strikes of 2025. Risk would not be contained. Markets are pricing negotiations. The key question now is not who has leverage. Both sides do. The question is who believes they have more leverage when they sit down and that they're actual compromise. We'll know this week, because if talks do not produce any outcome this week, it implies we will again escalate to find out who really has the most leverage. The markets are not pricing that in. This conflict cannot sustain itself for long without triggering global economic disruption. Both sides know that, which is why the next phase is most likely talks this week. Watch oil spreads, watch bond yields, watch volatility. Very, very true. I sort of said the same thing when I overtweeted John Arnold, who's probably the greatest oil trader in the world. If you don't follow him, John Arnold was considered to be the greatest oil hedge fund manager ever, and now I guess he's no longer trading oil. He's kind of in the VC business, but he basically said sort of the same thing. He said that he did not think this was going to be a super negative event for oil because it was going to end up relatively quickly. But what's happening right now is basically Iran understands that its only card to play is to disrupt, is to create as much havoc as possible, to go after civilians in the Gulf region, to create terror. Basically, they're applying terror on a state level. And the US-Israeli response right now is to actually, in my opinion, if they want to have leverage, to increase the terror within Iran. And what I mean by that is they need to kill 5,000 IRGC soldiers. They need to stop bombing facilities. They need to actually start bombing people and military people, because the moment IRGC soldiers feel like their personal life is in danger from drones and bombs and everything else and collateral damage and all the other shit, the army will turn against the leadership and will try to make a deal. So at this point, killing buildings, if US and Israel continue to do that, will lose the war. They need to start killing people. And it doesn't matter how much collateral damage there is right now, because this is about winning, not about being nice. Everybody's playing dirty. You got to play very, very dirty. This was perhaps the Russian coming out in me. But if I was a military commander right now, I would army depots, army barracks, anywhere you find any military personnel, just kill as many of them as possible, randomly, intermittently, to create as much terror within Iran as possible. That's the only way you're going to get leverage on them. Otherwise, Iran has won this war, in my opinion. It has won this war if they don't do this, because they have basically stopped global oil traffic. They have gotten Qatar to shut down, and they have shown that they're still the terrorist leader in the world. Okay. This has to, we have to do the same tactics we did in World War II, Dresden bombing all the way. So we'll see. I don't think anybody in the West has any stomach for it. I think, all the politically correct people in the West are going to start screaming that we're killing innocent civilians, blah, blah, blah. And I think this could be a tragic error, literally a historic error of massive proportions. Because if you let these guys survive, you essentially create your own death 10, 15 years forward. So that's my read on the situation. We'll see if I'm right. In the meantime, we'll talk markets as prices start to develop. They took out 49 leaders. They need to start killing the soldiers. The man in the street is where you create regime change. If regular people, regular soldiers feel like they are just dead men walking, they will not support the regime. You want regime change? you need massive human collateral damage. That's how just life works. Okay, it's literally how life works. But I don't think they have a stomach for that. Right. And that's true. I mean, they're taking out launchers. They're taking out a huge amount of supply. They're doing very intelligent military operations. But as always, when you're fighting in the Middle East, you're not fighting another army. You're fighting terrorist tactics. Terrorists, by very definition, don't follow any civilized rules, right? The terrorist mentality is never to fight man to man. It's always to kill your child and kill your civilian first. Never fight you as a soldier, right? That's the whole terrorist mentality, which is why you need to kill them and their wives and their children as soon as possible, because it's the only thing that makes them stop, right? That's the whole point. You can't play in marquee rules, civilized rules with terrorists. You have to be 10 times more vicious. One of the reasons why, have you ever wondered why no Russian citizen has ever been kidnapped by any of the terrorists in the Middle East? Because they did this one time in Lebanon. I think it was Hezbollah. And the Russians literally killed every single member of the family of the people that did this the day they kidnapped 2 Russian diplomats. Literally everybody, like 60, 70 people, just intermittently. And they've never touched a Russian citizen since. That's how you got to deal with these people. So, as I say, nobody in the West has the stomach to do that. Anyways, we will watch this. I think it'll be obviously very volatile, very interesting. From our perspective, getting back to trading and getting back to kind of trading what we want to do. I realized something super interesting over the last few days, few weeks. It's that you want to be long on dots, you can be. You want to be short on dots, you can be. What I mean by that is the dots structure is profitable whether you want to be a trend trader or a counter trend trader. It's such a beautiful structure. And the single most important question you want to ask yourself is, do I feel more comfortable trading with the flow or against the flow, right? Are you naturally a flow trader or a counter flow trader? I mean, actually, it's a good lesson for us to ask ourselves. I think it's a great lesson for us to do a poll on. So give me a second. I'm gonna create a poll here for everybody, and we'll go from there. Just give me 1 sec, because the answer to that question will determine how you can trade dots in the most productive manner for you, not for me, but for you. So just bear with me a sec. I'm gonna log in to YouTube and run the poll. Hang on. All right, so let's run the poll here. I am a trend trader. Counter trend trader. I'm going to say most comfortable. This isn't about what you are intellectually. It's what you are psychologically. Okay, so let's start the poll. So I'm sort of curious to see what you guys think about that. So I am obviously much more of a counter trend trader than a trend trader. I will, buy breakouts on the highs, sell breakdowns on the lows. That's about the only thing I really feel very comfortable doing. But everything else, I am so much more comfortable doing the opposite of what everybody else is doing, right? Whereas a lot of people are very comfortable doing what everybody else is doing. There are a lot of people that bought this green label and held this whole trade for 150 points, which I am absolutely personality impossible for me to do. Like just personality not able to, I cannot do that kind of a trade. It's just against my personal grain. But the beauty of this thing is that the dots can be this trade, or it can be a completely different trade. So I'm going to share with you my 3 favorite ways of trading dots, right? The first way is just a very conventional way, which we've been doing, which is I like to, if I have we're breaking fresh session highs. This is the U.S. session high. If we hold through the session high, let's put the white label here. The candle closes through session high. It's a white or green dot. We're going to go long. We just got to change accounts here because we got to rotate through accounts. We want to go through the 62 account, I guess, or maybe go 23 account. Okay, 23 account. All right. We haven't been in that account in a long time. So that's just very, very conventional. The other one of my favorite trades, which is more of a swing trade rather than a scalp trade, is 3-dot drop or 3-dot pop. And that is something I showed yesterday, by the way, that worked really well yesterday in the Asia session, which is we have a session high. This is the New York session high. And then we have 3 consecutive purple red dots, nothing in between. Like right now, these 2 red dots broken up by the white dot, that's not a trade. I want to see 3 red dots in a row. That signals to me that we are short-term top. I'm going to trade. I'm going to take that signal against the session high with half the distance risk. So if the distance is 80 points, I'm going to try and target 40 points on that distance. Okay. So that's just a, swing conventional trade. But then the bread and butter trade that I really like doing, is the one that's possibly coming up now, which is the exact opposite of what I teach you or what I showed you on a conventional manner. If I have a green buy label, right, and it prints, I don't take that trade. I actually sit here and wait until that structure is broken to the downside. If it isn't, then I don't have a trade. If it just keeps running up, I wait for the next one. But if the low of this candle, so for example, we actually have a buy. We don't have a buy. It needs to really close through the highs here. So we don't really have a trade here unless it kind of just really closes through the highs. It's not a very. I need it to really be strong here. No, it's coming off. Okay, so now I do have my reverse trade. So my reverse trade is this. This is the buy signal, right? The candle low, the absolute low of that buy signal is that white line. So let me just get rid of these white lines. I'm going to get rid of all these white lines on the bottom. If this candle or the next candle closes through that white line, breaks the structure, I'm actually going to be short. I am going to be completely counter to what the general ethos of the price action is. I'm going to be looking for failed signals. I love trading failed signals. It's very much in my personality domain. By the way, this is actually looking pretty good here. Okay, we're going to keep this white label. We're going to keep two lines here and see where the price wants to play. If the price wants to clear this white line, we'll trade it. If it doesn't, if it wants to clear the white line onto the bottom, we'll trade it to the short side. That's the beauty of actually kind of having these short-term demarcation lines, but it's got to close, right? As you got to see, they got to close. They're teasing them, but they're not closing. We are within like 5-10 points of the 900 level, so we'll see. Clean Cyber says reverse traders is bread and butter. So watching this, let's see how it goes. Remember, the low of the buy signal is that white line. And I want to see the price action not just break through it, but actually close below that low. So like right now, 2 seconds, didn't quite do it. Not enough. And by the way, it's got to be definitive. None of this, bullshit little, let me just touch the line. I want to see conviction on the price level because otherwise it's unsure. You see, it's still a battle between the buyers and the sellers. You know, it's got to be a definitive move. But that's such a cool thing about dots, is that you could create a strategy totally in sync with your personality, and both of them will be high probability strategies. It's just a matter of being patient and waiting for the setup that is within the personality fit of who you are. 4 or 5 seconds, 3, 2, 1, sell. All right, we're short here. Let me just expand this out. And we're done. See how fast that was? That was in and out, make the money. Super easy, right? I hunted that. Now, the thing is, when I'm trading within my personality, right? When I'm trading with a setup that is much closer to what I like to do, you notice how much more patient I am. I don't force the trade. I don't have a lot of FOMO. I don't give a shit if I miss it. This is what I mean about the most important part of how you trade dots is to know who you are. If what I did right now just really felt wrong for you, that's great. That means you're a much more of a guy who's going to buy the green labels in an uptrend and just be super comfortable holding them for 200 points and blowing me out of the water. On the other hand, if you're a guy who likes to just go against the crowd, who fight authority, like John Cougar Mellencamp, that is my anthem of life. I fight authority. Authority always wins. That's literally my anthem of life. If that describes your personality, then this is a much better setup for you. You got to trade to who you are. How many trades per day? Great question. I am trying optimally between 20 and 30. I should be doing, the way this works, I should be doing, obviously some hours are very productive, some others are not productive. I'm trying to get three quality trades per hour, right? We already had like 3 or 4 trades, in the hour opening that I had with you. So I'm pretty much on target. But like if you do 3 trades an hour and you trade, and after 10 hours, remember, 30 trades, it sounds like a lot, but I'm not, I'm waking up 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning. I may trade, 5 to 7 while I'm doing a million other things. I'm just watching the charts, and if the setup happens, I take it. I'll trade with you guys. Maybe I'll trade a little bit in the afternoon. Let's just say, and it's a really good question. And the answer to that, by the way, is going to be much better told with the new tools that I set up for you. This is actually a perfect segue for me to show you the tools that I made for you, because those questions you can answer yourself so much better than I could answer for you. So let me show you the tool that I built for you, because I completely revamped everything over the weekend. What's the number one thing I told everybody to do right now who's in my room? Bookmark the dots trading playbook. By the way, I'm going to update trading playbook a little bit later today with Boris's favorite 3 setups. My 3 setups are going to be up front here. I'm going to show you the 3-dot pop and drop, the reversal buy, and take out the high setup. So at least you know what I'm trading, and then you can do the counter Boris, and then I'll do a counter Boris, which is somebody who's very trend oriented, and I'll suggest 3 setups like that. So it's all going to be up here, right up front, up top, so you guys know exactly what to trade. And then, of course, this is all the massive discussion of all this stuff. So I'm going to update this for you guys. That's why I'm saying to you, bookmark this. This is a live breathing document through which I'm going to communicate all my best ideas for you. But on top of everything else, like I told you, I created a whole bunch of really cool analysis tools here. After the 6 account, they're going to put you on live, I believe. We're going to talk about Apex tomorrow, guys. We're going to talk about Apex tomorrow because I'm going to create a beautiful before and after web page, which I'm also going to publish for you guys, where you guys can be able to see exactly where you need to do and how you need to do it in the new conditions. Okay. So we're going to go to TradeAway. I'm going to show you what I did today. That's kind of interesting. We're going to take just a small break away from trading just to show you. The trade, we're going to use Tradeovate. You can do wealth charts and you can do MetaTrader 5 right now, and I'll do more. So this is yesterday's data, I think. So I'm going to just pull up. This is all. This is performance data from yesterday. So this is not my, my latest data. This is all my 10 Tradeovate accounts. All you got to do, I'm just pulling them into this thing. Click to browse and pull them. Just download your CSV files from Tradeovate. You guys know how to do that. It's very, very easy, right? That's it. Now watch what happens. Analyze all files instantaneously. Oh, this is actually me trading last night. Instantaneously. These are my trades, for today. And you can see that yesterday, basically from Sunday night to today, I did about 14 trades in Tradeovate. A little bit under the water because my comms are a little bit bigger. But here's what I want to show you. This whole thing will tell you every single trade you did. So these are all the trades I did. I guess I got clipped on. I know what happened. I get a double clip over here. That was just bad execution. I didn't get a chance because it was beginning of the open. I needed to move my stops all the way down. I got stopped out twice because it was just too fast. I went into the trade. I didn't get a chance to move my stops because I didn't have it organized. Whatever. It doesn't matter. It just tells you what you did, where your trades are. It analyzes by PM session, AM session analysis. It gives you all of your key metrics over here. But here's the other point that I want to show you. You can actually write notes. I fucked up, okay? Let's just say I wrote that note to myself. And then it can tell you everything you did by each account, right? And then more importantly, it can tell you your biggest losing trades, your smallest losing trades, your biggest P&L, your worst P&L, your duration. You can sort everything out by account like this. So it's really, really cool, right? But here's the cool part. So I did all of this. I wrote I fucked up. I hit the download report, right? Generating PDF. And now, just for you, here's your whole report with incredibly intelligent notes from Boris telling you everything you did. So you can summarize and get everything you need to do. And this will tell you how many trades you're doing. So the better answer is how many trades you're going to do relative to how you trade, so on and so forth, or where everything is, and it'll analyze everything for you. So every day, once a week, however you want to do it, you can create this report, save it to yourself, and then study it, and it becomes very, very useful. I just saved you $600 by not having TradeZilla. Ben says that the PA activation for legacy evals. Wow. So what are they doing? Think about what Apex is doing this. Why are they doing this? They don't want you to do your legacy evals. They're going to push. They're never going to reduce that price band. They're never going to reduce that price because they want you to buy the new ones. They want to transition everybody to the new ones by basically keeping prices high on the other ones, which I understand. It's a business decision. So I have a few legacy evals. I'm actually thinking I don't even know if it's worth it, because the new evals are only $75, and they're dirt cheap. They're $17, right? I can buy 25s for $17. I may just trade the legacy evals for practice. If I get funded, I'll try to decide whether it's worth it for me to pay $125 versus $75. But the point is, they clearly want to migrate everybody to the new evals. And I will, as I said, give a whole summary of exactly all the changes that they have done there to improve, and in some cases make it a little bit more difficult. Okay. Right. I think I'm going to use whatever legacy evals I have right now. I'm going to use for target practice. I'm probably going to do one and done on a couple of these things. We have Did ISM print? What happened to the ISM? Did ISM just print right now? Let's see what happened to ISM. Where am I? What happened to where is my? Oh, Forex Factory. God, sorry, I can't. find all of my things. Okay. Not horrible. Actually, manufacturing is good. Prices are high, though. Prices are high. Look at that. Prices are high. That is, inflation is kind of getting sticky. Yes. And oil isn't going to, it's not going to help it to have the oil. So ISM prices print. Okay, here we go. This is the high of the sell. Okay. My, reverse trades of 11 seconds left. Do we hold it? I want to go to 42 account. And if we do, I'm going to go long this thing. 3, 4, 2, 1, long. All right, let's see if I'm right on this trade. Almost. Come on, hit me. There we go. And I'm right on the trade. Again, I am very comfortable doing the opposite of what everybody else is doing, right? This is, there was a sell trade here, complete reversal of that sell trade. We took out the high, boom. I took out a nice hit. Beautiful. I'll take that trade any day. If I got stuffed on it, I don't care. Trade to your personality. And as I said, I will put. Now there's a buy signal, right? Now the guys who are trend traders are going to look at this and they're going to be probably very careful, very comfortable taking this long. I cannot take this long. I mean, I can take this long, but personality-wise, it's much harder for me to take this long. I think that's sort of like very, very important to appreciate is, where you are on the personality spectrum as much as you are on the trading spectrum. And the beautiful thing is the system is very bidirectional. Not that there's anything wrong with that. The old Seinfeld joke. OTR, good morning, my friend. What's going on with you? What's OTR saying? You know what, guys? Let me see if I can put this over here. Can you see me? Yeah, I think you guys are okay. We can put the comments on the screen, and you guys are good, right? Let me put the Apex link, by the way. Everybody, go out there, go get some Apexes. They're $17 an account right now. They really are dirt cheap. And the end of the day are only 25s. I actually, honestly, the way we trade, I don't think we need the end of the day. But if you want that extra safety, it's only $25. I'm willing to pay 17 because I don't need I'm perfectly okay with it trailing because of the way we structure. See, buy signal, this is going to work. It's going to probably run nicely to the upside, but just not my trade. Actually, we got to put the oops, is this right? Yeah, we're going to put the break line here to see if they hold it. Session highs, by the way, 9-10. We did break through session highs post ISM. I think it might have a little bit of a bullish tilt here. Let's see what it looks like on TradingView, just for our shits and giggles. A little bit of vol candles here after this, right? Just to see what it looks like on TradingView here a little bit. I haven't traded any TradingView with you guys today. I traded some last night. I'll probably trade some tonight with you guys. But see, going up. It's going up. If you are, you're long, that trade probably is going to work for you. We'll see. But it all, as I said, it all depends on how much. I'm much more. The irony of the whole thing is I had no problem going long as long as it was a reversal of sell. But for me to go long, as long as it's a continuation of buy, is just personally much harder, just psychologically much harder. Although it actually looks like we're starting to break down. And if we go back to here, again, we can watch this white line. If we can't hold the lows of the buy signal, that gives us a chance for a short, for a reversal short. Where's Coachella, California, OTR? Is it like near Death Valley or somewhere? 80s and 90s, man. It's 28 degrees, my friend. I think California is not real life. I think that's the problem. People who live in California just don't live a real life. It's just east of Palm Springs. Okay. Which I heard, by the way, is supposed to be like one of the most gorgeous places in the world. I've never been to Palm Springs. Is that true? Anybody out of California, is Palm Springs like one of the most beautiful places in the world? Cheryl's a Californian. Is it true? Do people like Palm Springs? It's never been real life here. You find that out around 5. Yeah, I know. I swear to God, I think California is just a state of mind. It's just like you're not serious people. You've never had a point of pain in your whole life. By the way, look at the buys. Let's see how nice the buys are working. If you guys are long this buy, you're making money now. You're making money. You held tight. So OTR, what'd you do today? You said you had a good morning. 2 MNQ still waiting for the payouts. Let's make Iran Persia again. Yeah, I'm there for that. I predict the rapid market movement to the downside and it happened. Good for you. Good for you. Look at a nice long, right? Those of you guys who took the long. Who took the long here in the room? Give me a yes. Give me a +1. Tell me if you took the long. I'm just curious. Because I'm sure those of you guys who have the personality for the trading with the flow are just doing great. But I'll be honest with you, every time I took these longs in lives, I was forcing myself. Like you see me trading so much better because I'm trading within my own personality. But I'm happy to have you, to show you the signals so you guys take them. Who took the longs? Sandy took the longs. Neil took the longs. Alien is just in gold. Yeah, we'll get to gold. Accurate Astrology took those. See, Saber took those. You guys, so good for you. You guys are all very comfortable taking the trend signal. Martin says he took it there. There's no commitment though. Okay. Carlos is still long. See, I could never be fucking long at this point. I would be like out and just, that's it. But we are hitting session highs. That is actually very, very good. I'm missing a couple of session high runs because I'm yapping. But those of you guys who are long, good for you. You're nailing it well. But yeah, I mean, the most important part is trade true to yourself. Have a great structure like dots, which just give you superb selections. It's like being in a great restaurant, right? You just need to choose fish or meat. Yeah, there's a third G dot. There was a third green dot. Yeah, it's true. You're talking about the 1, 2, 3 move. The one, three dots on a pop and 3 dots on a drop is a really, really good pattern. It's obviously a great pattern around the session highs, but it's also a pretty good pattern mid trade. It just tells you that you have you absolutely have pressure on that side. Well, let's see how the poll is doing. Holy shit. Wow. Look at this poll, guys. Look at this poll. I am in such a minority. 81% of you are trend traders. 81% of you are much more comfortable taking this buy to the upside than the failure of the buy to the downside. So that's super interesting. Oh, here we go. NYEMS. That's definitely NYEMS. You guys hear that? Fresh session highs. We're really pumping. Market's kind of reverting. So again, I think the guy's analysis was, yep, new highs. Good for you. You're with Rob Hoffman. Yeah, no, Rob is right. But like, I absolutely understand. And Rob always yells at me, you got to be trading trend. You got to be trading trend. And okay, this is going to be completely politically incorrect, but that's like not my sexual orientation. Okay, just to put that in the mind's eye, I am just not a good trend trader. I'll take the highs, but I'm so much more comfortable trading reversals. So let Boris be Boris. I'm stepping out of the closet today. I'm showing you that I'm a reverse trader, but you guys are all amazing trend traders. And look at the numbers we're hitting. We are literally through session highs, just driving. I should be taking this trade. I'm sorry, I'm yapping. I should be taking this trade because I think we still have a little bit more continuity here. We'll see. But good for you guys. Good for you. Anyways, I'll put my 3 favorite setups top of the thing, and then 3 favorite counter setups against that, and this way everybody will know exactly how to orient yourself. Yeah, so Ben, you took the buy trade. You took the Christmas tree buy. Did you take that Christmas tree buy? I know Carlos is probably long from over here. He's milking it. Sandy took it. Is that correct, Ben? I guess we're entering. Look at that. Look at that. We just look at the moves, guys. Look at the shorts getting their ass squeezed. Again, markets are really clearly think this is going to be a negotiating session. All right, I'm gonna go. What is it? Where am I at? 42. Let's take 48. We're on the 48. 12 seconds left. We'll be holding the highs. Very late in the trade. This is completely opposite of what I like to do, but it's not quite holding the highs. It doesn't quite hold the highs. Shy buy, not a trade. Okay, good. I didn't take this trade. And now, honestly, I got nothing. I got nothing because my repertoire is I'm going to need 3 red dots to make it 3 dots on a drop, or I need a really, really serious sell-off to take out the lows of this buy, because that's the nearest buy I have over here against which I'm going to trade. So either way, I'm far away from any kind of a setup, and that's fine for me. I'm totally okay. I'm very, very patient when it's within my personality space. Oh, this 5. No, you should never set it for 510, man. Ben. That's like a cardinal sin of the New York. The New York session should never be 5, especially not fucking one day after we're bombing Iran. New York session should be 10-20 minimum, and honestly, you should be 20-40. If we really, really want to give, especially a lot of these trend. Remember, a lot of the trend trades always have big retrace components to it, so you really want to be wide on those things. But yeah, I mean, it's. I'm glad everybody's doing well. All right, first red dot off the highs, right? Session highs. I'm going to put the white line on the session highs here to just keep us marked. By the way, those of you guys who follow me, and if you don't follow me, please do on Twitter because, yeah, trust me, been there. Let me just chat out this is my FX flow. Okay. Go follow me on Twitter if you're not. And if you're watching me on Twitter, assholes, please follow me because I really try to put out some really, really good content. This whole idea of like trading reversals, I put out a video called Your Stop is My Entry, which essentially talks about the whole philosophy of this trading style. It's in my X, okay? But that's not the reason why I want you guys to follow my X. I just reposted a really, really good thread. Just watching this right now just to see if we get any movement. If we burst to fresh session highs, I got to go long, much as it pains me. Look at this, look at this, look at this. 16, 17. All right, if it doesn't, I'm going to take you to X. I'm going to show you what I want to do. Sandy says 3 trades, 20 TP, 40 stop, up $300 for the day, and 3 simple solid signals. White, green, and third G dot, such a great indicator. Yes, trade your style. Exactly, right, Sandy? Sandy does a beautiful job of using dots for his style. And by the way, everybody, email me your favorite setup, because I'm gonna share that on the dots page, so you guys could learn from what other successful traders are doing. We'll put them into like little beautiful, boxes. We'll call it Sandy style, OTR style. Email me your setups, because this will give people even more ideas of how we can trade dots well. Okay, so coming off highs. I got no signal. Let me just take you to X and just show you. This is such a great thread. Some guy, I don't know what this guy is, Mark is. He took Linda Raschke, who I absolutely adore. I've interviewed her multiple times. She's a great lady. She sort of really at this point retired, but she is one of the greatest traders of all time. Just as a pure prop trader. And this is her 12 dictums of day trading. Literally every one of these things is a winning strategy if you just read it and understand it. And you can obviously apply. Everything I did with dots was because of her. Like, I think 5 or 6 years ago, I told you this story. Like 5 or 6 years ago, she came. I used to do these big trading exhibitions called Trader Fest, like virtual Trader Fest. She came on my show, and like I just let her talk for 2 hours. Just let her talk and talk and talk. And she spilled every one of her beans, just spilled every one of her strategies. And after she explained her whole understanding of market price action and auction theory, that's when I really started creating the dots. The dots are basically Linda Raschke's ideas in a micro structure form. And if you really want to understand, like you don't really need to understand, you certainly don't need to know ICT or what is it, fast money concepts, or slow money bleed, as it's known. None of that bullshit. None of the interpretive stuff. Her ideas are so smart because they're so definitive. They're not interpretive. Okay, we're gonna go down to 1, and I gotta trade this now at shit. All right, I'm just gonna adjust it manually. I'm not gonna wait. So this is I believe it's a 3 dot. No, not quite. I thought I was going to get a 3 dot drop, but I didn't. 1 dot, 2 dots, and I'm now just waiting for it. So if we get a reversal signal here on this structure here, let me make sure I see you guys. Okay, make sure everybody sees this. Yeah. Now it looks like that pattern the reversal pattern is broken. So if we get a white dot, that whole pattern gets broken. Then my usual stop and target is 1020, but because now we have to go really wide to the highs, it would be 2040 with half size. My regular size is 2. Basically, I'm trading 2 MNQs for every single trade. So 40 target, 80 risk. But when I start doing this one, I'm going to do one MNQ with wider stops and targets, just to give you an idea. So no trade so far. But anyways, please, really, some of the best reading you'll ever understand about the market if you follow that thread. Okay, her 12 rules of how markets behave. Tell me what you think. I'm really curious to know how everybody, what everybody thinks about that. Because I think it's just incredibly good information. No fair value gaps. No fucking, I don't even know what ICT concepts are. London kill. Like, no bullshit. No Wyckoff recycled into white trash version of trading, which is what I consider to be ICT. Actual real trading with understanding how markets really work. No manipulation, none of that shit. Carlos, you find that tell me that's not the most accurate description of ICT. It's like Waffle House decided to create a trading strategy. Oh, okay, I'm watching this, guys. I didn't even realize this. But remember I said to you, we got to break the lows of the buy here, right over here. So this is the lows of the buy right over here. So now we're circling. We didn't get the 3-dot drop, although we might get it now. Now I'm going to be really torn because if I get a 3-dot drop, I got to trade small size. I'm probably going to have to trade small size anyways. We'll see. Although now, look at that, we're reversing. We're holding the bid. We're holding the 2490. Apex site is down again. Probably because they're getting swamped. We're going to talk about copy trading, by the way, also because I think the new structure does open us up to some interesting copy trading possibilities. And by the way, when it comes to copy trading, there's not even comparison. I mean, Trade Evade sucks balls compared to wealth charts for a whole bunch of reasons. Yeah, I mean, I always love I always love watching ICT gurus on YouTube go, this one strategy is all you need to make money. And then you watch him and he's like, well, in this chart you do this, but in this chart you do that, and in this chart. So basically there is no strategy, there is no fixed rules, there's nothing actually quantitative that you could do. It's just completely interpretive on a day-to-day, minute-by-minute, chart-by-chart basis. So there's not a fucking strategy. It's just you pulling shit out of your ass on past price performance, right? Which is always really hilarious to me. I'm like, with me, if you break the low and hold the low, you take the trade. It's black and white, baby. It's not the color of bullshit. Oh, looks like we're going back up, boys. Okay, now this gets interesting. So now I'm perfectly okay. Where's my sell trade? Oh, shit. Let me get over here. This is the high of the sell. This is the high of the sell, right? So that's the prior sell. We are reversing the sell condition. Can we take it out and hold it? If we do, I'm going to go long this one, which is, a buy for somebody else, but it's kind of a reverse sell for me, which is fine. Simple dump money setups. Yeah, so we should create we call it a DMC, dumb money concepts, right? Okay, so Martin, there is no such thing as a liquidity sweep either. There's no such thing as manipulation. There's none of those things, okay? These are all concepts based upon conspiracy theories. And conspiracy theories, somebody explained to me conspiracy theories for me really, really well. If you believe in a conspiracy theory, it's because you feel powerless. And the only way for you to explain the world is to basically create create a structure where there is some kind of a superior force that's manipulating life against you because you yourself can't succeed on your own merits. It's a brutally honest description of every conspiracy theory there is. And I totally agree with it. So liquidity sweeps, manipulation candles, all of that are just a trading derivative of conspiracy theories. What I mean by that is when you see a big dump, what's happening there is it's not pre-planned. First of all, think about this. There are 5,000 hedge funds. Each one of them is on the opposite side of the other. If you don't think, and Kathy always talks about, I always, cringe when she says retail is dumb money. There's no, retail can be smart money and hedge funds can be dumb money completely and totally. There's 1,000 hedge funds that blow up every single year because they're dumb money. And there's lots of retail traders who make bank every single year because they're smart money. Being one or the other does not give you any advantage. So when you see a huge dump, it's basically one or two market actors that have a need at that particular moment or a thought that this is going to be the right thing, and they dump the positions. Now, do they run hunts? Of course. In other words, is there something like a stop hunt at session lows or at session highs? No doubt. We see double bottoms, double tops all the time. But that is not a liquidity sweep or anything else. That's just clean, basic market making manipulation. This is the kind of stuff that everybody does. And by the way, they don't always work, right? Sometimes you're like, oh, they're gonna sweep the bottom and take it back up, and suddenly they don't because there's another guy who nobody knew about, nobody thought about, who's got $1 million to sell, and he's gonna blow those reversal trades right out of the water. That's why there is no guaranteed trades. There's just relatively high probability setups and relatively low ones. And they're not a function of somebody manipulating price action. They're a function of millions upon millions of different actors in the marketplace acting at that particular instant, which is why it's very, very, you can never predict it, completely, because somebody's always going to do something different, right? All right, so this is actually going to break the white candle. We got to go. Well, we also have 3 dots. Oh, I'm yapping. We have 3 dots and a drop. Okay, let's see if this holds. This is going to be a hard trade because I don't know if it's going to be a momentum trade or do we trade the whole the reversal trade here? Oh, it's actually none of them because it's not even holding. It's not even holding. If we get a 3rd dot, we have to trade like against the whole position here. And if we don't, we don't. And we're actually running out of time, so I got no trades anymore. Anyways, I'm sorry. I ranted and raved today, but I think it's kind of important. Yeah, hunts are equal liquidity sweeps, right? So if you say to me it's a stop hunt, of course, but that's just an old-fashioned term that everybody is aware of. Hey, how did that short work out for you, Astrology? I think you were short from here, so it must have worked pretty well for you, right? You finally got the sells. You got the continuity sells. Good for you. All right, so the only thing I have going on right now is if they take out the sell to the upside, do I want to take this to the long side? My X is at FX Flow. OTR, you're a man after my own heart. OTR is like, I want to come to New York so I can go to Gallagher's to see where Paul Castellano was hit. Not like, I want to come to New York for all the cultural things. I just want to see if the mob hits. That's actually, by the way, what an amazing, I just had this great idea. Imagine if you did a tour, or like you created a tour of mob's greatest hits of New York, like where every big mob hit, like Frank Costello got killed in his barber shop. Castellano got hit, in front of Gallagher's, that would be like really, really a fun, bust. Like you could do, somebody who's entrepreneurial should really do this. The mob tour of New York, right? They have Casa Nostra tours. They do. Somebody already thought about it. Okay, yeah, it's too good an idea not to do, too good an idea not to do. But yes, that was Albert Anastasia, right? Sorry, in the barbershop. You're right. I forget my mob lore. Oh, we're breaking down, guys. We're taking out that we're gonna go on this trade. That if this holds, this could be my last trade of the day with you guys because I'm way over time and I got to go talk to the queen. 30 seconds left. We're through that buy level, and we're actually 1, 2, 3. Well, I actually missed my 3 dots and a drop here because I was yapping. So you see 1, 2, 3. This was a 3 dots and a drop trade. So 15, 13. Got to hold this level. All right, I'm short here. Let's see if this is going to work for us or it's going to retrace me out. Let's see. Why can't I grab this? Again, like this is my biggest problem with well charts is I can't quickly grab these. Why can't? There we go. God damn. I think it's just a matter of just making the chart wide enough. So I may have sold the bottom here because this is a little bit of a late trade, but that's fine. If I get tagged on this one, I have a very, very small size on this. Yeah, I get tagged out. I'll be okay. I'm not gonna cry about this. The much better trade was the 3 dots drop 1, 2, 3, but I was yapping, so I missed that trade. This would have been the trade right over here to take that trade. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to flatten out. I don't like this trade, so I just flattened out tiny little clip on this. Next one, this is the other good thing. When you're trading your style, if it's not working, you can just get out because there'll be another trade going forward. So fine. We actually had a very good day. I think if I look at my trades today, this is before I came on with you guys, but everything was green today. I really hit every single trade, right? If you go to trades today, we hit all the trades. So all accounts today. Yeah, this all happened before you guys. So everything else has just been very clean. How many points is this? So this is the other cool thing I really like about Wells charts is it really like summarizes. It says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow, 50 points. How did I get 50 points on this one? 5. So 150, 160, 180, 180 points. 180 points today. Because I'm not counting this because this was not. We didn't trade this before I saw you guys. That's pretty good. 150 NASDAQ points today in trade session. And I got out of this just in time because I knew that wasn't a good trade. Okay, guys. Super fun. Thank you for hanging out with me. Again, last links. Everybody who's on the thread right now, bookmark the dots page. This literally is going to be your touchstone. Everything on there, super free, super useful. And I'm going to update all the setups. Go buy a fuck ton of Apex accounts, please, because they're dirt cheap. They're literally $17 against $75 everywhere else, but you got to buy the new ones. And what else I need to do? And if you want, here's the link to my coaching, which I'm also going to redo. By the way, the coaching page is going to get redone too. And here's the link to coaching. And if you buy coaching, I will buy you at current prices. I'll buy you 4 Apex accounts for free. So if you get my coaching, I will buy you 4 Apex accounts, but you got to get them today. Wow, OTR, 3,000 today across 4 accounts. Nice job. Nice job. Sandy, send me your setups. OTR, send me your setups so we can add them into the DOTS playbook so everybody can really enjoy all the various possibilities. Green's outer. I'm sorry, but that's really good. First losing day in 3 weeks is amazing. That's an amazing accomplishment. You did a great job. All right, guys. Everybody have a wonderful, wonderful day. I see everybody tomorrow, same time, same station. We're also going to trade Asia tonight, 7 p.m. We're going to trade probably with my friends Ola. We're going to trade gold. We're just going to trade gold on all these same concepts with just larger stops, larger targets like we did yesterday. Yesterday, we traded gold really, really well for Ola. We're going to do the same thing tonight, all right? So MetaTrader 5. Those of you guys who trade MetaTrader 5, I'm going to trade with you. I'm going to show you the tools for that. So come back to Asia. I'll see everybody later tonight. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.